Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Z channel. So today I'm going to be going over some martial arts, and as I explained in my introduction video, I have a pretty extensive background in martial arts, and then the training that I received from the guy that taught me, his name was Chuck Pittman. He basically got me heavily into San Soo, and from that point I wanted to learn all kinds of different martial arts after him and I had he had to go, I had to move out of state, and we just kind of lost touch with each other, but, we're still friends. I actually talked to him the other day, and, nothing's really changed with him. He's still out there training and showing people, what kind of a badass he is, and, it's good to know that he hasn't changed, because the guy was awesome, and I always love him for taking me under his wing and training me, and helping me to progress in my life in different ways I never knew that I possibly could. So, going into this book that I'm holding in my hand, it says Martial Arts, Tai Chi, and Aikido. And this really isn't just about Tai Chi and Aikido. There's actually a broad overview of all kinds of different martial arts that you can, get into. And so this is by Faye Goodman, Andrew Popovich, and Peter Brady. Now, when I saw this book, I knew immediately that I had to have it because I wanted to understand the background of martial arts in different styles. And, it got to the point where it was like, okay, which one should I add to the arsenal? Which ones do I really want to know? And when I saw this book, I knew right away that it was for me. And I believe I paid for $18. I got it at a library in California right before I had moved away to Arizona. And when I picked up this book, at first I thought it was going to be, some kind of a just broad overview, but it really got into the main steps and warm-ups, and they show some different techniques to kind of get you acclimated to the style that you could be learning. And so that kind of helped set me off with knowing what kind of DVDs and things I needed to look for to find different people that were in the martial arts that I wanted to learn, and give them a try for what they were able to teach me. So let's get into this book here. So you really can't see the print too good on my camera, but they got your basic Taekwondo, karate, Ryo karate, Shotokan karate, and then getting more into the Japanese arts of Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, and Judo, and then the Kung Fu of like Wing Chun, Mach Guard, kickboxing. There's Kendo, there's Yato, and then Tai Chi Chuan, Shinto Ryu. And it goes a little bit more into the Tai Chi part, which I've done Tai Chi before. The one thing I will say about it is the movements and the breathing and all that is actually harder than it looks. So keep that in mind if you're ever doubting the power of Tai Chi. It's not the easiest thing to learn in the world. So, and then there's an introduction, and it just kind of talks about how they brought everything together from the different disciplines and the histories over in Japan and China, and just kind of how everyone got into the different styles. And as you can see in the photos here, there's a lot of different styles that you can see. Their basic uniforms that they wear when they're doing their training, and it's all encompassing, and that's what I liked most about it, was it just encompassed a lot of different martial arts. Now, I've trained most of these in here, and I'm fairly confident. I didn't really get too much into Taekwondo and the Shotokan karate. I got really heavy into Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and then Wing Chun and Hungar, and a few other Kung Fu styles like Xingyi. So, but well, Wing Chun is in the book, but not Xingyi. Xingyi is a different style of Kung Fu, which, in my opinion, is very, very proficient. The training on it is a lot of fun, and it's a good exercise. Definitely, it's all geared towards combat, which I really like. So it really gives you a sense on what you should be learning and how to learn it. And just to learn some basic techniques before you even go to a class. If you're going to take a class, you know, I recommend that you look up the person that is going to teach you. Make sure that they have, you know, some kind of a reputation for training and safety and stuff like that. Like, one thing about Chuck when he trained me was he always had a level of control, and his control was to the point where it was scary. And by scary, I mean I knew that if he really wanted to, he could maim me, put me down, hurt me, break me. Whatever he really wanted to do, he could have imposed his will on me. Well, at least for the first couple of years. I only got a couple of good ones in twice, but you know, when I did, it was because of what he had taught me. And so that's, you know, part of the great part of martial arts is after you train for so long, you get to the point where it becomes a response. It's not just a reaction, it's an actual response. And so as you progress more into your martial art, you can you know, just feel the arsenal that you have and the way that you can bust it out and you know, use techniques in really high stress situations, which I've had to do before. And it's, you know, been a blessing that I've learned martial arts and I've been able to use it many times to you know, protect myself, protect others, and to do my job effectively when I'm out doing security work. So this part of right here, it's actually talking about the history of jiu-jitsu and, you know, the different clothing that you wear. Now the belt thing, you know, okay, so if you want to get into the belt part, that's fine. All a belt really means is that you've learned this many techniques, okay? If you're a Dan, you know, that means you've reached a certain point past black belt where you can, you know, effectively, you can teach other people and you know every technique there is and you're able to do it fluidly. You can name it, you know, everything in the language of Japanese. Stuff like that. So Aikido has it, Jiu-Jitsu has it, most of the Japanese arts go with the belt system, which is nothing wrong with that. I just found that you should learn all of it and mix it together and make it your own. And it doesn't really matter what belt you have. If you can't effectively use your techniques in a situation, you know, I've seen black belts get whooped by an average bar fighter before, and I've seen, you know, trained people just completely decimate someone that, you know, the person was like, oh, I'm a black belt in this, and next thing you know, they're eating the pavement. So that being said, it's all in how you train. You know, you train the way you fight the way you train. So keep that in mind as you're progressing through, and just understand that there's a lot of training that goes into all of this, and after doing it for so many years, you just get to the point where you can pick up any style, you can break down the techniques, and you can apply it to however you want to for your arsenal. And then, you know, here's judo. Judo was a whole lot of fun to learn. There's some similar stuff that's derived from the jiu-jitsu elements and some of the aikido elements, but for the most part, you're grappling and you're wrestling and you're doing some different chokeout moves, and it's really effective. It's you know, some of the best throws and tosses that are in the Japanese arts. Aikido's got some good ones too, but the judo is a lot more hands-on, a lot more aggressive in my opinion. There's definitely some rougher techniques to go over, and you know, I'm not knocking Aikido at all because it's a really great art to learn too. I think you should learn different variations of the martial arts so you can have the lethal to non-lethal spectrum. And if you have that spectrum, it's going to be easier for you to, you know, deal with situations. And if you have to intensify things, then you can intensify. You can bring it up that next level. And so that's what's awesome about that. And then getting into some of the Kung Fu arts. So I got into Wing Chun, and this was before the Ip Man movies came out, so my inspiration was not because of the Ip Man movie with Donnie Yen, which great movies by the way, but when I had heard about Wing Chun and I saw the wooden dummy and just the feel of it, for some reason it just appealed to me right away. And I actually own a wooden dummy, and I'll be doing a video about that here pretty soon. And the style just fit for me. After learning San Soo, I brought Wing Chun into it, and it just got to the point where I felt so solid combining both of them. And then also with the Aikido and Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, and then I got into Krav Maga, and so on and so forth. And there was Kuntao Salat, there was Filipino Eskrima, there was Russian Sistema. You know, the list goes on, really, because of how big my combat library grew over the years. So with Wing Chun, there's a lot of different drills that you can do. The Ka Sao, the Chi Sao, you got your sticky hands, the Tan Sao. There's just different techniques that you get used to doing with your simultaneous block and punch techniques. And so that is something that I've trained my daughter in, and we've done a lot of blindfold, Chi Sao and arm rolling techniques and Bong Sao and stuff like that. And so you just get really into it. And then the Muk Yan Jan, that is, the wooden dummy again, and it's multi-purpose. I've used this for every style of martial arts that I train in, and I found that it's effective. You can use it for weapons training, you can use it for open hands, you can train different styles of martial arts on it. Obviously, you can't do throws and holds and locks and everything, but the center of attack and just the methods that you would go into, breaking someone's attack or destroying someone's attack at you, it really makes it a great teacher. The dummy teaches you how to move, when to move, and you really can't cheat on the dummy because it's not going anywhere, and you have to do the technique right, otherwise it's not going to work. So I've done, like I said, Salat, Krav Maga, different styles of Kung Fu, all the Japanese arts. It's a lot of fun to train on the wooden dummy that I have, and it's definitely gotten its use. So here's some of the different weapons. The 6-foot staff, the Bart Cham Daos, the butterfly swords. They're a lot of fun to play with too. I own a set of those. And then just going further into this book, there's the different kickboxing and stuff like that, which kicks are very effective, except for when you train with someone like Chuck, you know that you should never leave your feet because you'll end up eating pavement, and I learned that lesson a few times, so thank you, Chuck, for your hard lessons anyway. Now, getting into a lot of the different weapons, the weapon systems, I've learned all the Japanese style weapons, I've learned a lot of the Kung Fu style weapons, there's different stick fighting, there's knife fighting, so being proficient in all of them, it's really great. Now, what's the point of learning, nunchucks? Nunchuckas. You're not really going to have a pair of nunchucks on you when you're out and about at the grocery store. The thing about learning things like nunchucks and size, tonfas, kamas, stuff like that, and then even the sword and other blades, it just helps you with training all together. It helps with your balance, your coordination. It helps you to master something that is not convenient. You really have to train and learn how to make the techniques work with the weapons when you're training with them. So I've always really enjoyed weapons training. I've done a lot of weapons training, and it just makes things a lot of fun, especially when you have a training partner and you can get into the different levels of stick fighting, for example. You start out slow with the Redondo Heaven 6 and Earth 6 and stuff like that. You just get into the different techniques that you do with the sticks, and the same thing that you can do with the sticks, you can do with an open blade, and so on and so forth. And so you just kind of get used to the rhythm, and then using the left and the right hand simultaneously. So you get a bleed over and a cross training. So whatever you can do with the left, you can do with the right, and it just helps out a lot with all around balance and coordination and being able to use different aspects of your body. So let's say you get into it with someone and you get your arm hyperextended. Now all you have is your left hand, and your left hand's your weak hand. What are you going to do? If you haven't been training with this hand, how are you going to use it in a situation that you need to defend yourself or defend someone that you care about or love? And so that is another reason why you want to train with both hands, with knives, with any kind of weapon. Even if you're into shooting, you should learn how to shoot with your left hand too. It's all about practicality, and if you can't do both with both hands, then you need to start training it, because that's the way to do it. All right. So more history and philosophy. Yato, that's another great one. Talking about the sword. I've done some really, how should I put this? I've done some sword training, and I love the sword. The sword mastery is no joke. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing. Even the slightest inch off, you're going to mess up the technique. And in a real sword fight, that 1 inch can mean your life. And so that's what I like most about it, is there's a lot of slow practical training, and then there's a lot of footwork and balance and posture, critical timing. And then the people that are really heavy into Yato, they will use live blades that are razor sharp. And you know, if you're not experienced practitioner in this kind of stuff, do not mess around. Use bokens, the wooden swords, or Cold Steel's got those polypropylene. I think I said that word wrong, but it's a actually, I'll do a video of that one later on too, but it's a polypropylene sword, and it's used for boken techniques, for Aikido and other sword fighting, and it's a really great training tool to learn how to effectively do Yato. Now, I also got a wooden sword that I use a lot, and the wooden sword, I have the saya that comes out, and so like when you deploy your sword, you are able to do different resheathing techniques. So when you're going to put the sword back in, there's certain ways and postures that you have to do it, and you like let the blade slide over the top of your hand, and then you bring it back down in, and then into, and then you slide the sword sheath back in. So I'll do a video about how all that works. It's a lot of fun training, doing the different techniques for cutting and stuff like that. Like it's so much fun. I can't stress enough, if you have any kind of, you know, interest in swords, please check out the Yato ArtZ, because it'll definitely change your perception about sword fighting in all aspects. I mean, I know there's different types of sword fighting, and in my opinion, this is one of the best. It's one of the deadliest, and I'm happy that I learned it. And the grandmaster that I learned from, well, I don't know if he's calling himself a grandmaster, but he should be. I have his all of his, you know, DVDs. I'll be doing a review about all those later. I'm going to be doing a review about all the different DVDs. Like, for example, real quick with the Wing Chun. You know, this is a Wing Chun video that I got many years ago, and this is from Wing Chun master Augustine Fung, who is actually here in Arizona. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but you know, this guy trained me, and he doesn't even know me. But here is, you got the fundamentals, the Silum Tao, the Chum Q, the Bugi, the 108 Makyak Jong form, the weapons and sparring, and then the history, concepts, and philosophies. So it really goes into a broad depth of the entire art, and I literally learned most of my Wing Chun from this guy Augustine Fung and the wooden dummy, and then a couple of other tools for Wing Chun to better myself and stick in the parameters of what they're teaching. So when you learn the fundamentals, you take those and you keep going, and then you learn the different forms, and then you learn how to do the wooden dummy form, and then you just get a sparring partner, you show them how to do it, and then you just keep training and keep training and keep training. And that's what I feel made everything a lot more fun, and I'm really happy that I learned all this stuff. I can't wait to share it with everyone. You know, this is just one of many. So the Wing Chun series, I can't you know, give it enough praise. A lot of people talk crap about Wing Chun. Like I said, it's all in how you practice. You fight how you train how you fight, and this is definitely a combat art. If you want to know how to fight, I definitely recommend this. San Soo and several other type of Japanese arts and Indonesian arts, different security arts for, like, you know, Krav Maga, Filipino Eskrima, Salat. All those are really great for learning how to effectively learn combat. So keep that in mind as you're going along, and it'll be a great, you know, it'll be a great addition to your arsenal. So anyway, this book, going back to it, it gave me a lot of insight. It gave me a lot of understanding of what to do and how to do it, and learning the backgrounds of the people that actually taught, you know, their martial arts, from the old samurais to the ninjutsu masters to, you know, aikido, the jiu-jitsu and judo. You know, all this stuff has been around for a long time, and the art's been perfected. You know, these guys know what they were doing, and I just want to be able to pass these teachings down to other people, especially, you know, my daughter. I've taught her the day that she ends up having kids, which hopefully isn't, you know, for many years. I'm not trying to be a grandpa yet, obviously, but the day that I get to train, you know, my grandkids and teach them how to be safe and how to take care of their families in the future, it's going to be a really rewarding moment to have learned all this and to be able to give them such a, you know, fascinating gift of self-defense and confidence and courage, and just being able to, you know, do all around protection for your family. I mean, that's what it's really about, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to give a shot for this book. Originally it was $35, and I paid $18 for it at the library in Dana Point. And so it's a great book. It helped me get into all the different martial arts that I got into, and there's even more than what I've listed off verbally. Like, my combat library is so big, it's hard to explain, but as I do each review, you'll get an idea of what I mean. And you just train so much and learn so much that it just kind of becomes a part of who you are. So that's really what I want you to take from this video, is let the martial art teach you and become part of it, and then reinvent it for how it works for you. Not everyone can do everything, but if it works for you, do it. Now, one good thing I want to say is something that Chuck taught me, is take all the good, leave out all the bad, and make it your own. Okay, so that being said, this is Z at the Z channel. Thank you for watching this martial arts review. I'll be doing some more videos here really soon. And like and subscribe, tell your friends and family, share this with people. I appreciate the support that I've gotten so far. Have a wonderful night.